This is Mission Control Houston. The International Space Station continuing to orbit the Earth at an altitude of about 220 statute miles with the Expedition 26 crew aboard. That crew involves Commander Scott Kelly and flight engineers Alexander Kaleri, Oleg Skropochka, Dmitry Kondratyev, Paulo Nespoli, and Katie Coleman. We're receiving live downlink television from inside the International Space Station. We can see Paulo Nespoli and Katie Coleman as they complete work on the training for the upcoming arrival and berthing of the HTV-2 transfer vehicle from Japan. The Kanatori, or White Stork, transfer vehicle developed by the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency is scheduled to be making the system's second delivery to the space station after a planned launch from Tanegashima, Japan on January 20. This is part of a quick succession of international space supply trucks that will be arriving at the station early this year, dropping off more than 10 tons of food, computers, medical equipment and supplies, spare parts, and experiment gear, not to mention the necessities of everyday life in orbit. It'll be followed quickly by the 41st Russian Progress vehicle, which is set to launch from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan on January the 28th, and the second European Space Agency automated transfer vehicle, named Johannes Kepler after the famed mathematician, set to launch from the launch pad near Kourou, French Guiana on February the 15th. The crew today has been working through a variety of different activities, ranging from periodic fitness evaluations for Commander Scott Kelly with some help from some of his other crewmates, preparations of the Pirs docking compartment and the Zvezda service module's transfer compartment for an upcoming spacewalk. That spacewalk is scheduled for January 21, involving two of the Russian cosmonauts. Expedition 26 flight engineers Dmitry Kondratyev and Oleg Skropochka are scheduled to float outside the Pirs airlock at about 8:20 a.m. Central Time on Friday, the 21st, to begin the 6-hour excursion in which they will install a new experimental high-speed data transmission system on the outside of the Russian section of the station, remove an old plasma pulse experiment that isn't working any longer, install a camera for the new Rosvet docking module, and retrieve a materials exposure package so that its samples can be brought back home to Earth for scientists and engineers to review how they fared in the harsh environment of space. The crew also today did some work in practicing their robotic arm skills, particularly Katie Coleman and Paulo Nespoli, who will be berthing the HTV-2, or Kanatori transfer vehicle, to the Earth-facing port of the Harmony module of the International Space Station. Scott Kelly, the commander on board, also did some experiment work cleaning out the core of the Marangoni experiment, which is looking at turbulent flows in a microgravity environment. And of course, the crew getting its usual complement of exercise, about 2.5 hours each day, to make sure they stay in good shape using exercise equipment that ranges from an advanced resistive exercise device that allows them to mimic weightlifting in the absence of gravity, a pair of treadmills that allow them to walk and run in place, and also a pair of different stationary bicycles that they can ride. Also today, flight engineer Alexander Kaleri did some work to install the hand controls for telerobotic docking of the automated transfer vehicle, known as Johannes Kepler, when it arrives, bringing up the last of 3 successive supply cargo vehicles in advance of the planned launch of the Space Shuttle Discovery and its delivery of cargo and equipment, and the final pressurized module for the International Space Station, the pressurized permanent multi-purpose module. All systems on board the space station working very well as the crew continues its duties, and it is monitored by the folks here in Mission Control with Flight Director Derek Hausman and his Capcom Terry Verts talking with the crew and coordinating activities with the various Mission Control centers around the world, in Moscow, in Germany, and Japan, and in Canada, in support of this international activity in orbit. This is Mission Control Houston.